I'm keen on your answers because I know you've got plenty of insight. And without your flex, we'll put that to the side. I'm just going to have you do just your rope.
Okay.
So.
I can make just about any situation and anything work.
Yeah, good.
Okay?
Sure. I believe you can, which is why I'm asking.
Okay.
If I didn't think you could, I wouldn't ask.
All right. What do you want me to do?
When I teach people to use a rope, I consider it just like use the energy. It's no different than, say, the tail of a horse.
Mm-hmm.
This just happens to be my tail. So when you back up, you drive. You're driving. This is a drive.
Yeah.
It must be.
It's energy first.
Yeah.
This is just a communication device. So if I was here shaking that rope, he would not move very far.
No, totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally understand. By definition, because you're physically moving it, it must be an activation of the drive action.
Yeah.
So, where I slightly differ in how I think about it a little, and not that I'm against or think anything's poor of it whatsoever, but I always try to teach, if all you've got is your rope, so you don't have your flag, you don't have some of the deal, you've just got your rope, I always say to people, whatever you do, don't drive with this, drive with the bitter end, because this will be direction. Now that's breaking it away, and I know it's creates sort of a hard line, which doesn't create a lot of flexibility, but it helps.
Okay, I'm gonna
what do you think
give
of that?
you the key of my work.
Okay.
Okay? Which I need my stick for my diagram, because this is my chalkboard all the time. Okay?
All right.
This is a very complicated, secretive diagram.
Oh, good grief.
Okay.
That means it's going to be easy. All right, go. It's a straight line. It's an aspirin.
That's it. That's the key to most of my work. It is called the quadrant principle.
Okay.
Because I created it and I can name it anything I want it to. Now, I'm going to show you how it applies to a horse. There's your straight line. Here's your horizontal line. I call this the vertical line, the horizontal line.
Is it just behind the front feet, or are you particular, or what?
Yeah, it's just behind the front feet. So then we got our circle. So wherever he moves, that diagram moves with him. Okay? I'm going to get him positioned. Come on, buddy. Get back over there. Come on. Okay? So that line comes right down, splits this horse right down the middle. And the reason that splits that horse right down the middle is that how their brain works. I mean, you know the horse brain. It's the size of a walnut,
Yep.
literally,
Yep.
and it has two very distinct hemispheres that have very few neurological connectors between one side and the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That is because, you know, they are a prey animal.
Mm-hmm.
So this ear, this eye, that nose smells, sees, and hears almost completely separately from this ear, eye, and nose. Because that is the way their brain works. This eye and ear have to be able to focus from there all the way over to there, what's going on out there. So that's where the term active brain, passive brain comes from. You've got, let's say he's a little wild horse out in the valley, and he's with 4 or 5 other horses, and they're crazy. The eye that is facing out of their group is the active brain. That is eye, ear, and nose trying to pick up any smell of threat or predator out there. The eye that's in to the grazing, to the safety area, becomes the passive brain. So that brain, if this horse picks up a coyote or a wolf on a hilltop way over there, then that brain kicks in to high drive. Now, all the horses who had their passive eye towards that horse, their brain flicks over like a switch to side, because now they're going, oh wait, he just went on work. Now this brain was active, now this brain has to be active, so then they all go, what the hell is he looking at? Okay? So, that vertical line is kind of your switch, left and right. So when I talk to these horses, I talk to these quadrants, that line, this line, which divides the horse front and back. Your position and the pressures that you apply in relationship to these quadrants. Why is it a quadrant? Because each one of those little pies has a foot in it, which attaches to that quarter of the body. Now, when I talk to the halter, let's just say I didn't use my stick or the halter. If I picked up this hand only and was using my energy right here, this side of the body would get pressure on it and would go that way. If I picked up these two arms and put pressure, I'm talking to the two front quadrants at the same time, he goes straight back.
Sean, you're talking to me. I just realized where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to me, you and me.
Yep.
But I'm curious if there's a more basic, I'm going to let you finish. So I'm just going to quickly get this. I'm thinking of a more basic concept that could be taught to people that they would carry until they could get to where you're at.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
This is what I teach them.
It works? People get this?
Because I break it down to a point that, listen, when I want to send my horse over, you're talking to this part of the body right here. Because here's how half the people are doing stuff. They're getting way over here and wondering how their horse is going that way. They have to have boundaries of where things are. So I give them a boundary right here in the middle. You can't take your horse that way. The only way I can get him to go that way is if I pick this stick up in that quadrant over there.
Okay, stop there.
And move that quadrant.
Wait.
Okay.
That's exactly what I keep thinking about, is your left hand it started as the direction, not the drive.
No,
You're
that's the direction.
Yes.
And this
That's
is the
good.
drive.
But if you didn't have that. That's why I said throw that away, because
Okay.
we need to be able to teach people with just a rope.
Now, is that working really good?
Yeah, that's
Okay. That's not working really good for me. That's way too much
yeah, you've got
energy.
too much. It
Now,
works, but it's
if I didn't have a stick,
yes,
and I wanted, but see, this is only turning. This isn't backing up.
correct.
Okay, I got to get him backed up first to get him prepared to turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I use this, I'm going to talk to those two front quadrants, because the way this halter works, it goes 1, 2, 1, 2. When I'm doing this, I'm sending energy down this, and that halter talks to him right there. It says right front foot, left front foot, right front foot, left front foot. That's how this tool works. That's why the real stiff ones, they don't flow, and I don't use them, because it's not the proper tool. It's trying to use a crescent wrench when you need a hammer. So,
I've done that.
well, I've used crescent wrenches too, to ruin your crescent wrench. So if I'm sitting here and saying, okay, I've got to get him on his hind end before I send him over. Well, this is my first deal.
Why not that?
Like that?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. So, what happens in the end? We keep going back, and eventually he's going to move that shoulder.
Well, if he was already backing, you'd stop swinging. If he's backing, you'd stop swinging. Your swinging should stop. You should only swing until he goes back. Once he goes back, you would keep moving without swinging.
Yeah, you get a result. You get a result. Pat Pirelli gets a result. Dennis
Yeah, the
Rees.
Pirelli guys do this swinging shit with the stupid
But they get a
hoodies.
result. See, these are the things that you start looking at over time. What is your end? Where is my result? What kind of result do I get? Can I get a result? Yeah, fuck yeah, I can get a result.
But I'm talking about not necessarily locking, but temporarily locking in the idea that the end to the horse is direction, and the bitter end is drive. If you were to break those two apart, people can separate that for other things. Just curious as to what you
Okay,
think.
you see every time,
Do you think it's inefficient? Do you think it's...
yes. And I'm using a lot more energy than I ever want to use. So, I have to spin this rope.
Okay, well,
So if I come up here, and or I'm here, one, I got to get my energy, and then I'm spinning my rope. Okay, one, see that step right there? Because the energy that's being created right here goes to that quadrant. That's always going to drive that shoulder that way. I can get a result. I can make this work. Is it the result I had worked to get? No. That's why I have this. This equals that. I don't want to be doing that all the time.
But plenty of people aren't coordinated enough to use both.
I can use that. Oh, fuck.
I'm not kidding.
So if I back him up,
Yes.
raise my stick, what's
Yes.
my result?
Yes, I agree. 100%.
A lot less energy.
Yeah.
The less energy on some of these guys, if I was to get a wild Mustang and do this, he'd be jumping out of the friggin'.
But then that's better.
Because if I was to use this, he'd be jumping out of the round. Spinning. Way too much energy.
I get it.
Okay?
I like it. Okay.
Increase of energy.
So for me personally...
Escalation of energy. Escalation of energy.
Yes.
Bring it back down. Immediate release. This. So you've only got so much.
What if you just hit your pants?
Okay, you can do that.
Just curious.
I teach them all to move off of that kind of pressure. Okay?
The idea in...
So if I do this and go. Okay? So at the end of the day, I'm going to bruise them all day.
I don't know, but I get what you're saying. Yes.
Okay?
Yep. What if you could whistle? Like you made a noise. Do you use clucks or whistles or kisses or anything
Okay.
like that?
One kiss for trot, 2 kisses for canter.
Nothing.
Long kiss, 2 kisses means get into a canter right now. Okay? I don't say walk, trot, canter, and I don't throw a whole bunch of other shit because they're not real audible. They're not real audible in their communication.
No, they've only got so many sounds.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when I tell women who come up, oh, I just love my little horse. I go, now I'm going to go, I want you to go out there, and I'm going to go pull a horse's buddy out. And I want you to listen to what happens when that horse is going all upset because they just pulled their buddy out. High-pitched frequencies are frequencies of distress.
Do men have do we have an advantage because our voices are lower?
I do. Because I speak Comanche to them. Because, and I tell people, I said, it's not what I say, it's how I say it. When I'm saying good boy, good girl, good boy, good girl, low guttural tones. Horse sees you coming out with a pan of food. What do they do? Low guttural sounds are.
What about whispers?
One.
I'm not talking about horse whisper, don't get me wrong. But what about even quiet?
He just thinks I'm goofy. That doesn't really have a place in their world. But you can whisper to them. Do you hear them whispering to each other?
I have a lot of thoughts, man. You're gonna be answering a lot of
That's
questions.
okay. There is a lot of stuff out there that is a... Can you get a result? This is when I say, all these different people, they get results with different techniques. Okay? If I wanted this horse to back up, and I was a Clinton Anderson person, I could take this thing and bang the shit out of this rope.
Yeah, that's idiotic.
I would get a result. I could take this and go I got a result. Now tell me how that translates to the saddle.
No, it doesn't. Actually.
Okay, now, translates to the saddle. I'm in the saddle. I pick up my reins. I change my seat. I get a back up. I put my leg on his outside shoulder. I get a movement of that way. This is my leg. These are my reins. I have an interpretation here that I can get up in that saddle because I'm putting energy here. When I get up in that saddle and draw my belly button up through my backbone, my shoulders are slightly in front of my hips. When I do that, I'm bringing that horse's energy up and back. If they don't move, I take my feet and go. Put energy in front of that horizontal line. This energy is in front of that horizontal line. That is my feet.
Do you bump left, right, or left, right at the same time?
Mostly together,
Yeah.
okay? But you can also do this.
Pick up on your rein.
You can bring your body back. I can talk to his feet, but that even is too much energy for me. If I get that horse balanced and I change my seat, boom, they're going back. It's all the interpretation of my tools down here that I apply to that saddle. Some of our interpretations, you got to get as close as you can to what you're doing in the saddle. So it's a real, when I look at Pat Pirelli and I look at some of these other people and I ask people, here's Pat Pirelli's rear end disengagement. Come here, Junior. Can you get a result? Yes, you can. So here's Pirelli's rear end disengagement. All these women are in clinics are walking around like this. Oh, I'm disengaging the hind end. Now their horses peg that inside front foot and the rear end spins around. And I go, you peg that inside front foot when you're on that horse and that rear end starts spinning around. If you've ever watched an old record player and you put a chess piece on it and watch that chess piece as that record player goes from slow to high and starts switching it up, the chess piece flies across the room. Why? Because of the centrifugal force. This horse pegs an inside front foot and that butt starts spinning around, you cannot hang on, the average person. In fact, the woman who came off of that Tiger Mustang, that's what happened to her. She tried pulling him around. He stuck that inside front foot, and he was flying around, and she was getting off on the side. She let go, and he hippity-hopped, and she went flying through the air and broke her head. So you never want that inside front foot to peg. If you're riding, you don't want that front foot to peg.
That's how a lot of people get an inside rein for one rein stop.
Yeah, you know how often I teach people to do a one rein stop? Because more people every year get killed by a one rein stop. Because here's inevitably, in a panic situation, what they do. One rein stop is never to be used above a slow trot. You know why? Because most people panic. And they pull that rein to the inside,
Lean in.
and they lean in.
Yeah.
The one rein stop
To be leaned out.
has to be dig that outside hand in and you outside hip in and you bring that head around and that outside foot can't step around that much with your leg with your weight on it. They lean in and the horse goes flying sideways through the fence. Or it does this and runs off really fast. And they're going, but I was doing the one rein stop. Or that horse is bolting. They reach down. When I rode in the movies, how do you think those guys get those horses to fall over? One rein stop.
Bending, yeah.
And they lean in,
Yeah.
and they pull that rein up,
Yeah.
and that horse goes up. He has no choice but to go up and flop over on that outside shoulder.
Lean up.
And that's what happens, to people, but they're not a stuntman. I watched a stuntman break his leg doing that. Because he didn't get his leg out from underneath there. It was in the water and there was a log down in the mud. And he didn't get his leg out. And